Hey y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good nighttime, good midnight hour. How are you at the moment? Or the day? Whatever. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Tamika Collins, and this here is my YouTube channel. And on these episodes, we are reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and we are in Judges, the 19th chapter. I had a look. This brain don't work like it used to. Mm, mm, mm. That's a part of getting seasoned. Yes. All right, but we recap, so let's recap. Got a little lengthy one today. So recapping chapter 16, Samson carries away Gaza's gates. Samson meets Delilah, who tries to trap him 3 times and finally gets him the 4th time. All this time, Samson was playing the game. Hopefully, he was playing the game. I want to think that he was playing the game and then wasn't thinking and let love get him caught up. We do that, don't we? That was a question. Yes, we do that. Yes, we do. Chapter 17, Micah, who tended to lean on his own understanding, had made idols that were taken away from him, from the villagers, and the Levite also, who he had let stay in his house, and asked him to be his Levite of the house. He had made priest over his home, also was taken away by the town men of Dan, who were on their way to Laish, I think that's what it was called, to fight the people there and get them out that land, because they wanted that land because it was nice and peaceful and it was away from everyone. And read in the context, that wasn't a part of God's plan. They were not Canaanites, so that was not a land that they were supposed to be trying to conquer or conquering. So but they did succeed in that, and making it their new land. They called them the land of Dan, which was one of the sons, one of the tribes, But yeah, they were not supposed to mess with them folks. Some folks was nice and peaceful over there, living their best life. Anyway, but you know what? The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Yes, he do. He don't care who he do it to. Chapter 18, read along, talked of idols in Dan. Remember, idols are anything that we put before God. We have to reverence God and worship him in spirit and truth, not just confessing with our mouth and believing in our heart that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And we also have to be changed. We also have to not be conformed to this world. That means we have to live like we believe, holy and acceptable, not in our wants, but his wants of us, separate and set apart. So we should be asking God what he wants us to do anyway. But we forget. We go on about our life. And you know what? It's a habit too, because we are so used to doing our own thing. So we forget that we need to, especially once we cross over to that new life. Excuse my head. We forget that we have someone that has been leading our lives, but now that we are in the light, we are to reverence and look forward and ask for more guidance. You see what I'm saying? You know, ask, be more attentive to the fact of, what do you want me to do? You know, and we forget. We forget. I forget a lot. But I'm trying to do better. 2024, I'm trying to do better. Better. Anyway, we in chapter 19. Let's read. War against the tribe of Benjamin. This is the Levite and his concubine. Ooh, okay. Chapter 19 of Judges. Now, in those days, Israel had no king. There was a man from the tribe of Levi living in a remote area of the hill town of Ephraim. One day, he brought home a woman from Bethlehem in Judah to be his concubine. But she was angry. She became angry with him and returned to her father's home in Bethlehem. About 4 months, her husband set out for Bethlehem to speak personally to her and persuade her to come back. He took with him a servant and a pair of donkeys. When he arrived at her father's house, her father saw him and welcomed him. Her father urged him to stay a while, so he stayed 3 days, eating, drinking, and sleeping there. On the 4th day, the man was up early, ready to leave, but the woman's father said to his son-in-law, "Have something to eat before you go." So the two men sat down together and had something to eat and drink. Then the woman's father said, "Please stay another night and enjoy yourself." The man got up to leave, but his father-in-law kept urging him to stay, so he finally gave in and stayed the night. On the morning of the 5th day, he was up early again, ready to leave, and again the woman's father said, "Have something to eat. Then you can leave this afternoon." So they had another day of feasting. Later, as the man and his concubine and the servant were preparing to leave, his father-in-law said, "Look, it is almost evening. Stay the night and enjoy yourself. Tomorrow you can get up early and be on your way." But this time the man was determined to leave. So he took his 2 saddled donkeys and his concubine and headed in the direction of Jebus, that is Jerusalem, or Jebus. It was late in the day when he neared Jebus, or Jebus. And the man's servant said to him, "Let's stop at the Jebusite," so it probably is Jebus, "at this Jebusite town and spend the night there." "No," his master said, "we can't stay in this foreign town where there are no Israelites. Instead, we will go to Gibeah. Come on, let's try to get as far as Gibeah or Ramah, and we'll spend the night in one of those towns." So they went on. The sun was setting as they came to Gibeah, a town of the land of Benjamin. So they stopped there to spend the night. They rested in the town square, but no one took them in for the night. That evening, an old man came home from his work in the fields. He was from the hill town of Ephraim, but he was living in Gibeah, where the people were from the tribe of Benjamin. When he saw the travelers sitting in the town square, he asked them where they were from and where they were going. "We have been in Bethlehem in Judah," the man replied. "We are on our way to a remote area in the hill country of Ephraim, which is my home. I traveled to Bethlehem, and now I am returning home. But no one has taken us in for the night, even though we have everything we need. We have straw and feed for our donkeys and plenty of bread and wine for ourselves." "You are welcome to stay with me," the old man said. "I will give you anything you might need. But whatever you do, don't spend the night in the square." So he took them home with him and fed the donkeys. After they washed their feet, they ate and drank together. While they were enjoying themselves, a crowd of troublemakers from the town surrounded the house. They began beating on the door and shouting to the old man, "Bring out the man whom is staying with you so we can have sex with him." Ooh. The old man stepped outside to talk to them. "No, my brothers, don't do such an evil thing, for this man is a guest in my house, and such a thing will be shameful. Here, take my virgin daughter and this man's concubine. I will bring them out to you, and you can abuse them and do whatever you like. But don't do such a shameful thing to this man. Oh, Lord. No. Not a Bruce. Not a Bruce. Ike. But they wouldn't listen to him. So the Levite took hold of his concubine and pushed her out the door. The men of the town abused her all night, taking turns raping her until morning. Finally, at dawn, they let her go. At daybreak, the woman returned to the house where her husband was staying. She collapsed at the door of the house and lay there until it was light. When her husband opened the door to leave, there lay his concubine with her hands on the threshold. He said, "Get up, let's go." But there was no answer. She put her body on his donkey. So he put her body on his donkey and took her home. When he got home, he took a knife and cut his concubine's body into 12 pieces. Wow. Then he sent one piece to each tribe throughout all the territory of Israel. Oh my goodness. Everyone who saw it said such a horrible crime has not been committed in all the time since Israel left Egypt. Think about it. What are we doing? What are we going to do? Who's speaking up? Who's going to speak up? Chapter 20, Israel's war with Benjamin. Then all the Israelites were united as one man from Dan in the north of Beersheba in the south, including those across the Jordan in the land of Gilead. The entire community assembled in the presence of the Lord at Mizpah. The leaders of all the people and all the tribes of Israel, 400,000 warriors armed with swords, took their positions in the assembly of the people of God. Word soon reached the land of Benjamin that the other tribes had gone up to Mizpah. The Israelites then asked how this terrible crime had happened. The Levite, the husband of the woman who had been murdered, said, "My concubine and I came to spend the night in Gibeah, a town that belongs to the people of Benjamin. That night, some of the leading citizens of Gibeah surrounded the house, planning to kill me, and they raped my concubine until she was dead. So I cut her body into 12 pieces and sent the pieces throughout the territory assigned to Israel for these men who committed a terrible and shameful crime. Now then, all of you, the entire community of Israel, must decide here and now what should be done about this." And all the people rose to their feet in unison and declared, "None of us will return home. No, not one, even one of us. Instead, this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will draw lots to decide who will attack it. 1/10 of the men from each tribe will be chosen to supply the warriors with food, and the rest of us will take revenge on Gibeah of Benjamin for the shameful thing they have done in Israel." So all the Israelites were completely united, and they gathered together to attack the town. The Israelites sent messengers to the tribe of Benjamin, saying, "What a terrible thing you have done among you. Give up those evil men, those troublemakers from Gibeah, so we can execute them and purge Israel of this evil." But the people of Benjamin would not listen. Instead, they came from their towns and gathered to Gibeah to fight the Israelites. And all 26,000 of their warriors armed with swords arrived in Gibeah to join the 700 elite troops who lived there. Among Benjamin's elite troops, 700 were left-handed, and each of them could sling a rock and hit a target within a hair's breadth without missing. Israel had 400,000 experienced soldiers armed with swords, not counting Benjamin's warriors. Before the battles, the Israelites went to Bethel and asked God which tribe should go first to attack the people of Benjamin. The Lord answered, "Judah is to go first." So the Israelites left early the next morning and camped near Gibeah. Then they advanced toward Gibeah to attack the men of Benjamin. But Benjamin's warriors who were defending the town came out and killed 22,000 Israelites on the battlefield that day. But the Israelites encouraged each other and took their positions again at the same place they had fought the previous day. For they had gone up to Bethel and wept in the presence of the Lord until evening. They asked the Lord, "Should we fight against our relatives from Benjamin again?" And the Lord said, "Go out and fight against them." So the next day they went out again to fight against the men of Benjamin. But the men of Benjamin killed another 18,000 Israelites, all of whom were experienced with the sword. Then all the Israelites went up to Bethel and wept in the presence of the Lord and fasted until evening. They also brought burnt offerings and peace offerings to the Lord. The Israelites went up seeking direction from the Lord. In those days, the ark of the covenant of God was in Bethel, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, and the grandson of Aaron, was the priest. The Israelites asked the Lord, "Should we fight against our relatives from Benjamin again, or should we stop?" The Lord said, "Go tomorrow. I will hand them over to you." So the Israelites set an ambush all around Gibeah. They went out on the third day and took their positions at the same place as before. When the men of Benjamin came out to attack, they were drawn away from the town, and as they had done before, they began to kill the Israelites. About 30 Israelites died in the open fields and along the roads, one leading to Bethel and the other leading to Gibeah. Then the warriors of Benjamin shouted, "We're defeating them as we did before." But the Israelites had planned in advance to run away so that the men of Benjamin would chase them along the roads and be drawn away from the town. When the main group of Israelite warriors reached Baal Tamar, they turned and looked up and took up their positions. Meanwhile, the Israelites, hiding in the ambush in the west of Gibeah, jumped out to fight. There were about 10,000 elite Israelite troops who advanced against Gibeah. The fighting was so heavy that Benjamin didn't realize the impending disaster. So the Lord helped Israel defeat Benjamin. And that day the Israelites killed 25,100 of Benjamin's warriors, all of whom were experienced swordsmen. Then the men of Benjamin saw that they were beaten. The Israelites had retreated from Benjamin's warriors in order to give those hiding in ambush more room to maneuver against Gibeah. Then those who were hiding rushed in from all sides and killed everyone in the town. They had arranged to send up a large cloud of smoke from the town as a signal. When the Israelites saw the smoke, they turned and attacked Benjamin's warriors. By that time, Benjamin's warriors had killed about 30 Israelites, and they shouted, "We're defeating them as we did in the first battle." But when the warriors of Benjamin looked behind them and saw the smoke rising into the sky from every part of town, the men of Israel turned and attacked. At this point, the men of Benjamin became terrified because they realized disaster was close at hand. So they turned around and fled before the Israelites toward the wilderness. But they couldn't escape the battle, and the people who came out of the nearby towns also were killed. The Israelites surrounded the men of Benjamin and chased them relentlessly, finally overtaking them east of Gibeah. That day, 18,000 of Benjamin's strongest warriors died in the battle. The survivors fled into the wilderness toward the rock of Rimmon, but Israel killed 5,000 of them along the road. They continued the chase until they had killed another 2,000 near Judah. So that day, the tribe of Benjamin lost 25,000 strong warriors armed with swords, leaving only 600 men who escaped to the rock of Rimmon, where they lived for 4 months. And the Israelites returned and slaughtered every living thing in all the towns, the people, the livestock, and everything they found. They also burned down all the towns they came to. Amen. Well, may the Lord have a ever blessing to his read word, always and forevermore. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, morning. I always be trying to get away from that, but I love saying that. I hope you have a wonderful morning. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you have a wonderful night. And I hope you have a wonderful midnight hour. Yes, I do. That midnight hour is important. You know you're supposed to pray in that midnight hour. Lots happen in the midnight hour. I'm not even going to go there. But lots happen in the midnight hour, okay? good and bad. We're gonna keep it like that. Good and bad. So have a great one. I will see you next time. We'll be in chapter 21 of Judges. And have a good one. Till next time. Peace.